I'm Andy Miocha and you're watching A News. Here's the headlines. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz to face no confidence vote in the Bundestag, clearing the way for snap elections. Several hundred people feared dead after a cyclone hit the French island territory of Mayotte. Bitcoin climbs to a record high, sparked by US President-elect Donald Trump's support for digital assets. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is set to face a vote of no confidence in the Bundestag, which would clear the way for early elections. Scholz is expected to lose the vote, with the election likely to be held in February.
Germany is on the brink of early elections as Chancellor Olaf Scholz faces a no-confidence vote in the Bundestag on Monday. This comes after the Free Democratic Party of Germany left the governing coalition last month, leaving Scholz's Social Democrats and the Greens without a majority in parliament, just as Germany is grappling with a major economic crisis. Olaf Scholz has called for this vote in hopes of triggering early elections. If Parliament votes against him, President Frank-Walter Steinmeier will have 21 days to dissolve the Bundestag, with elections expected to occur within 2 months. The vote is expected to pass with opposition parties, including the far-right Alternative for Germany, voting against Scholz. Despite his party's likely support, Scholz himself is prepared to lose, as he sees this as a path to early elections. Meanwhile, German political parties, including Scholz's SPD, are already preparing for the campaign. Early polls show the Christian Democratic Union of Germany and its Bavarian sister party, the Christian Social Union, leading, with the AfD gaining ground.
Several hundred people are feared dead in the French island territory of Mayotte after the Chido cyclone hit overnight, devastating the islands. Officials of the archipelago in the southwest Indian Ocean warned the final death toll might even be in thousands.
Cyclone Chido, with winds exceeding 220 kilometers per hour, struck Mayotte directly, making it a Category 4 storm. Overturned containers and flattened homes revealed the storm's devastation in archipelago that belongs to France. French Interior Ministry confirmed at least 11 deaths and over 250 injuries. However, it also stated that determining the exact death toll will be challenging and no official figure is available yet. Speaking to local media on Sunday, Mayotte Prefect François-Xavier Buvule called it the worst cyclone to hit the French territory in 90 years.
It's extremely difficult to say. I think number of the dead will certainly be several hundreds, perhaps approaching 1,000 or even a few thousands. But it's obvious that, given the violence of this event, we all experience it in our flesh, in our family, with our loved ones, our colleagues.
Buvule warned that the real toll is likely far higher, particularly in slums of metal shacks that suffered the worst devastation. France has deployed rescue teams and supplies to the Indian Ocean territory, where the cyclone caused widespread destruction. The intense storm on Saturday damaged public infrastructure, including the airport, flattened neighborhoods, and cut electricity.
What we need right now is help, bottled water, food and medical aid, because even the biggest hospital here in Mamadzou is damaged. Also, everything is destroyed there, so we need massive support. Even the search and rescue vehicles, their hangar is completely destroyed. We need a lot of equipment to clean all that up.
Nearby islands such as Comoros and Madagascar were also affected, but Mayotte suffered the most. The island, France's poorest territory and home to over 300,000 people, is struggling to recover from the shock of storm's impact.
After Mayotte, Chido made landfall in Mozambique, where it quickly weakened and was reclassified as a tropical storm, but still destroyed several houses. A video released by UNICEF showed strong winds bending palm trees and roads submerged in water in Pemba, a city in the north of the country. Meanwhile, neighboring Malawi and Zimbabwe are bracing for potential flooding caused by heavy rainfall. EU Commission officials will travel to Ireland early next year in a final effort to convince Irish farmers to support a deal with South American Mercosur trade bloc. The EU officials will try to resolve issues around possible high volumes of paperwork and provide a clearer understanding of the deal. The Mercosur agreement, finalized earlier this month after 25 years of negotiations, promises significant tariff reductions and new markets for European goods. Irish Farmers Association, however, strongly opposes the deal, branding it a sellout.
It is a political necessity.
Over in Damascus, the UN's Syria envoy urged an inclusive Syrian transition based on a 9-year-old Security Council resolution during a meeting with Syria's de facto leader, Ahmad al-Shara, according to the envoy's office. Syria's ruling General Command, in a separate statement about the meeting with the UN's Geir Pedersen, said they had discussed the need to review Security Council Resolution 2254, saying it needed to be updated to suit the new reality. Pedersen earlier expressed hopes that lifting sanctions on Syria could support quick economic recovery. The European Union has taken its first step toward direct engagement with Syria's new government. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas announced that the bloc's top diplomat for Syria will travel to Damascus for talks with the new leadership.
EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas' statement signals a potential shift in the EU's approach to the region, marking a more direct engagement with Syria's government.
I've also tasked European top diplomat in Syria to go to Damascus to make the contacts with the new government and people there. So we will also discuss today in the Foreign Affairs Council how we engage with the new leadership of Syria and on what level we engage with the new leadership. And of course, what more steps are we willing to take if we see that Syria goes to the right direction.
The move comes amidst ongoing concerns about Syria's future and the actions of its new leadership. Over the weekend, representatives from the EU, US, UK, UN and Arab nations gathered in Agaba, Jordan, where they signed a joint declaration on Syria. The declaration calls for the protection of human rights, including the rights of women and minorities, while expressing full support for Syria's unity, territorial integrity and sovereignty. EU heads of state and government are set to discuss the situation in Syria further at the upcoming European Council meeting on the 19th of December.
Over in Moscow, the Kremlin says no final decision has been made on the fate of Russia's military bases in Syria. Kremlin's reaction comes after Syrian officials said Russia is pulling its troops out of the bases. Russia also claims to be in direct contact with Syria's new authorities.
A week after Syria's government was toppled following a rebel group taking control of the country, the Kremlin in Russia say a definitive decision concerning the fate of their military bases in Syria is yet to be made. Russia says it has already evacuated diplomatic personnel from Syria's capital, Damascus, and has established contact with the rebel leaders.
There are no final decisions on this issue at the current moment. We have contacts with representatives of those in control of the situation in the country now, and everything will be settled through dialogue.
These statements come as reports from Syria claim Russia is actively withdrawing its troops from the front lines in the northern part of the country. Cargo planes have been spotted arriving at the Hmeimim air base in Syria's Latakia province, and satellite imagery released by Maxar shows what appears to be the loading of military equipment. More activity has been observed on the ground, following footage showing a large convoy of Russian military vehicles on the highway between Damascus and the city of Homs. More than 150 military vehicles have been spotted by Britain's Channel 4 News. The fall of Syria's government comes as a blow to Russia, which supported it. However, There are claims that Russia has no intentions of leaving its two main bases in the country.
Britain has pledged a $63 million aid package to support vulnerable Syrians following the toppling of Bashar al-Assad. London says the funds are meant to provide immediate relief in Syria and also assist refugees in Lebanon and Jordan. A total of $38 million is meant to fund food, shelter, healthcare, and restoring essential services in Syria, while $25 million will assist Syrians in neighboring countries of Lebanon and Jordan.
And I support the ACBA principles that were agreed yesterday. We want to see. Well, today I'm announcing a £50 million package of support and aid to Syria. And I support the ACBA principles that were agreed yesterday. We want to see a Syrian-led and a Syrian-owned future. And we want one that is representative and inclusive. That is what partners in the region and allies, close allies, signed up to yesterday, and that's what we'll be encouraging.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continued his testimony in his ongoing corruption trial. The allegations against Netanyahu also include improper conduct tied to media coverage and regulatory decisions.
Prime Minister of Israel Benjamin Netanyahu is in his third day of testimony in his criminal trial at the Tel Aviv District Court. His defense attorney continues questioning about Netanyahu's alleged role in influencing political coverage on the Walla news website, a key element of Case 4000. The case accuses Netanyahu of accepting bribes in the form of favorable media coverage from Walla owner Shaul Elovich in exchange for advancing regulatory decisions that benefited Elovich by $520 million. Netanyahu denies the allegations. He asserts that requests made by Zeev Rubinstein, his wife Sarah's friend, to Walla CEO Ilan Yeshua were either Rubinstein's own actions or attempts to please Sarah. He insists he could have communicated with Elovich directly or via his staff, calling Walla a marginal website that was hostile toward me anyway. Netanyahu also claims he was unaware of his wife's dealings with Rubinstein. Israeli Prime Minister will return to the stand on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Over in South Korea, the law enforcement is seeking to summon impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol for questioning over his martial law imposition. The latest development comes as the Constitutional Court started with hearings on whether to uphold the impeachment vote. Yoon's appearance is requested over possible charges of rebellion. Impeached by Parliament on Saturday, Yoon's short-lived martial law declaration sparked protests in the country. Ruling party leader Han Dong-hoon resigned after backing Yoon's impeachment. The Constitutional Court now has up to 6 months to decide if Yoon is to be removed from office or reinstated.
저는 결코 포기하지 않겠습니다. 저를 향한 질책, 격려와 성원을
In finance news, the Bitcoin cryptocurrency has surged to a new record high, above $106,000 for a single coin.
With Bitcoin hitting new heights, analysts are now eyeing the next milestone of $110,000. The cryptocurrency market has been in the spotlight as investors bet that the incoming Trump administration will create a more crypto-friendly regulatory environment, further boosting confidence in digital assets. Bitcoin has soared by 192% this year alone. According to data from July, governments across the globe hold 2.2% of Bitcoin's total supply, with the United States holding nearly 200,000 Bitcoins, valued at more than $20 billion at current prices. Other nations with significant Bitcoin reserves include China, the United Kingdom, Bhutan, and El Salvador. Several countries are now considering establishing their own cryptocurrency reserves. Russian President Vladimir Putin recently commented that the U.S. administration is undermining the role of the dollar as the world's reserve currency, prompting many nations to turn to alternative assets like Bitcoin. However, there are skeptics. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has compared Bitcoin to gold, and analysts caution that the idea of a national Bitcoin reserve would take time to materialize. Since the November 5th election, Bitcoin has risen by more than 50%, largely due to Trump's election and the success of other crypto-friendly candidates. The total value of the cryptocurrency market has more than doubled this year, now surpassing $3.8 trillion.
A large number of drones have been reported flying over parts of New Jersey and the East Coast in the U.S. in recent weeks, sparking speculation and concern over who sent them and why. The governors of New York and New Jersey have called on authorities to investigate the flights of these mysterious unmanned aerial vehicles.
The mysterious drones observed in the US airspace for several weeks have caused air traffic to slow down due to safety concerns. Most recently, it was reported that runways at Stewart International Airport, located approximately 100 kilometers north of New York, were temporarily closed for about an hour due to unmanned aerial vehicles spotted in the area.
We are aware of the drone sightings, as I've said. I think there are more than 8,000 drones flown every day in the United States. With respect to the ability to incapacitate those drones, we are limited in our authorities. We have certain agencies within the Department of Homeland Security that can do that, and outside our department. But we need those authorities expanded as well.
According to the Federal Aviation Administration, the first mysterious drone sightings were detected on November the 18th over Morris and Somerset counties. The concerning mysterious unmanned aircraft were also spotted at a golf course in New Jersey, owned by the newly elected US President Donald Trump. As a result, local authorities restricted flights in the area due to the potential threat of an attack.
Look, it is our job to be vigilant in the federal government with our state and local partners on behalf of the American public, and we can assure their safety by reason of that vigilance. We've deployed personnel, technology, and if there is any reason for concern, if we identify any foreign involvement or criminal activity, we will communicate with the American public accordingly. Right now, we are not aware of any. If we become aware of any, we will communicate accordingly and take appropriate action.
A Pentagon spokesperson, Sabrina Singh, who has stated that New Jersey has been a security threat for some time, also addressed claims that the drones in question were launched from an Iranian ship in a region near the east, saying there is no truth to this.
Azerbaijan will chair the Conference on Interaction and Confidence-Building Measures in Asia for the 2024-2026 period. The meeting, in which the chairmanship will pass from Kazakhstan to Azerbaijan, is scheduled for tomorrow. This biannual meeting brings together foreign ministers from the 28 member states across Asia to discuss global and regional issues of peace and security. It is expected that a number of documents will be adopted. The next highest-level CICA gathering will take place in 2026, during which the 7th CICA summit will be held at the conclusion of Azerbaijan's chairmanship term.
The CET Ministerial Council endorsed the roadmap for CET.
Political changes are underway in Kyrgyzstan, where President Sadir Japarov has dismissed Prime Minister Akilbek Japarov after more than 2 years in office.
Kyrgyz President Sadir Japarov has signed a decree removing Akilbek Japarov from his position as Prime Minister and head of the presidential administration. The announcement was made by the Presidential Press Service. Akilbek Japarov, who has served as Prime Minister since October 2021, was dismissed as part of the transition to a new role. According to the decree, the Cabinet of Ministers will not be dissolved and will continue its work under Acting Prime Minister Adilbek Kasımaliyev, who previously served as First Deputy Prime Minister. Although no official details were provided about Akilbek Japarov's new assignment, speculations have circulated on social media suggesting he may become Kyrgyzstan's ambassador to the United States, a position currently vacant.
Over in Kazakhstan, the country is celebrating its Independence Day today. Our Fariza Kalimurzina reports from Almaty.
After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Kazakhstan was the last Soviet republic to declare its sovereignty. Turkey was the first to recognize Kazakhstan's independence, followed by Russia, Iran, the United States, Brazil, Hungary, Japan, and other countries. This day is important to all Kazakh citizens as a memory of those who defended the independence of the country. This holiday is rightfully considered as a symbol of freedom and power of Kazakhstan. In his Independence Day address, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev congratulated the people of Kazakhstan, emphasizing that the holiday marks the revival of the country's statehood and the embodiment of the people's dream of freedom. Tokayev stressed that Kazakhstan is steadily enhancing its power in the global arena while moving forward confidently and adhering to a defined strategic direction, which is a result of the hard work and unity of the country's people. Independence Day is also a time to reflect and honor the memory of those who lost their lives in the pursuit of the independence. It's particularly emotional because it coincides with the remembrance of the December 1986 events in Almaty, when thousands of young Kazakhs took the streets to protest the appointment of an ethnic Russian, Gennady Kolbin, as Kazakhstan's Communist Party leader. The protests, which spread to other towns, were brutally suppressed by Soviet regime. These events have become a symbol of resistance to Soviet policies that more often than not disregarded Kazakhstan's national identity. In Almaty, the day began with a flower-laying ceremony at the Independence Monument, attended by officials and public figures. The ceremony was followed by a minute of silence. As the square filled with citizens, the mood was one of both remembrance and hope for the future. Independence Square has become a place where the past and present converge as people honor the struggles of the past while expressing gratitude and hope that such tragedies will never repeat. In honor of the Independence Day, cultural, educational, and sports institutions across the country's regions organized dozens of events aimed at enhancing the political culture and civic solidarity of Kazakhstani people. Fariza Kalimurzina from Almaty, A News.
Over in Turkey, the historic Sumela Monastery located in Trabzon has turned into a captivating winter wonderland following 2 days of snowfall.
Carved into a steep cliff of Mount Karadağ overlooking the Altındere Valley, this ancient structure, also known as the Virgin Mary among locals, sits approximately 300 meters above the valley floor. The monastery, surrounded by dense forest, now wears a pristine white coat, enhancing its mystical aura. Sumela Monastery remains a top destination for history enthusiasts and nature lovers, offering a rare blend of architectural marvels and natural beauty. While summer remains a popular season, winter visits offer a serene and unforgettable experience. Sumela Monastery, listed as a tentative UNESCO World Heritage Site, was reopened for religious practices on August 15, 2010, after a hiatus of 88 years. Whether blanketed in green or white, this iconic landmark continues to be a symbol of Turkey's rich cultural and historical heritage.
Bakers and designers showcased their creativity in Stockholm during the annual Gingerbread House competition at the Arkides Museum. The event featured intricate designs, with many entries focusing on the theme of comeback.
The festive competition at Stockholm Arkides Museum brought together a diverse range of gingerbread creations. Visitors admired a variety of creative designs, from charming gingerbread cottages to intricate replicas of iconic landmarks, such as Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and an Oasis concert. The public flocked to the museum, capturing images of the colorful edible structures. Voters chose a miniature version of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory as the People's Choice winner. The detailed structure, adorned with candy and icing, earned the most votes from museum visitors.
It's a very special exhibition for us. It's been here since 1990. We had it 32 times. Last year we were closed to rebuild Arkides, and now we have reopened the museum. And it's a very special exhibition because it gives everyone the possibility to build their own home.
I mean, making gingerbread houses is like a very strong Swedish tradition. Everybody does it, more or less. But I guess, like most people, maybe they buy like the ready-made houses and not like spend the time decorating it. So, I mean, this is maybe a bit more advanced what all these people did for this competition. But it's definitely a strong Swedish tradition. And like people at work would ask, like, what's the recipe for the dough that you use to do the...
The 32nd edition of this event remains a beloved holiday tradition in Sweden, uniting the community to celebrate creativity, the Christmas spirit, and the art of gingerbread craftsmanship.
Well, that's all we have for you for now. Thank you for tuning in and keep watching A News.